Defend your empire with exciting technology. This is Sins of a Solar Empire 2. In Sins of a Solar Empire 2, the objective of the game is to conquer and hold habitable planets, build an economy robust enough to raise mighty fleets of warships, and then take the fight to your rivals, defeating them in battle to win the campaign and rule the sector. Taking colonies to feed into your war machine is just half the fight though. You'll also need to defend them too. While your fleets must always be at the ready to come to the aid of beleaguered planets, the larger your empire gets, the more difficult it can be to spread those limited forces wide enough to cover every vulnerability. Each colony has access to a variety of static defensive systems intended to provide a deterrent to smaller enemy forces, or to provide a support structure for your fleets to effectively defend your colonies against much larger, technologically advanced and dedicated invasion fleets you're likely to encounter as the game progresses. Note that all orbital structures can be moved with the Rotate Planet Orbital Structures option, but this is a slow process that shuts down all functionality as they move. As such, this feature is not intended to be used in combat to redress poor tactical positioning on the fly. Instead, it allows a player to strategically adjust structure positioning to anticipate future attacks, particularly as phase lane connections open and close due to the new Orbiting Planets feature of Sins of a Solar Empire 2. Military Orbital Structures are static weapons and support systems constructed in tactically advantageous positions around a gravity well, designed to protect your valuable colonial assets and deter enemy raids and invasions. Each structure has its own military structure points cost, and you can only build structures up to the colony's current military structure points total, which can be increased by developing the planetary defensive track. Initially, the TEC, Visari and Advent start the game with access to 2 weapons turrets, available right from the start of the game and designed to tackle early game threats. The lighter of the two has a higher overall damage per second rate, but lower pierce value, best suited to target frigates and other low durability ships. The larger turret takes more structure points, has a lower DPS but higher pierce value, and is intended to challenge better defended targets such as cruisers and capital ships. Both kinds of gun turrets have a limited firing range and must track their targets independently, and so their positioning at the time of their construction is critical. When attacked, these are a stationary defensive solution, and unless they are well placed, it's often a simple matter for an enemy fleet to avoid them entirely. These weapon emplacements are best used to defend other orbital structures, both civilian and military, deter siege ships from backdoor attacks, or tactically positioned to threaten enemy ships attempting to bypass the colony and exit the gravity well elsewhere. A strikecraft hangar is available to the TEC and Advent via research early into the game, each providing several squadrons of fighters and bombers for the defence of the colony. Strikecraft can be very dangerous to intruding enemies, and unlike gun emplacements, they have no range limit and can strike foes anywhere in the gravity well. Each of the 3 races has their own variation of a warship support structure too. The TEC utilise the retrofit bay, which enables the construction of ship items at full speed, and can be later upgraded to repair nearby ships, making the TEC a difficult nut to crack when defending their own planets. The Advent's Temple of Renewal recharges the antimatter of friendly ships, with the ability to recharge shields available for upgrade too. 2 abilities which greatly enhance the functionality of the Advent's warships with their reliance on advanced special abilities and heavy shielding technology. Finally, the Visari can construct the Regeneration Bay to quickly replenish hull points of friendly ships. When paired with the Visari ship's own remarkable hull regeneration abilities, a Regeneration Bay or 2 can keep an outnumbered Visari fleet in the fight for a very long time. As the race for technological dominance progresses, your enemies will begin to field more advanced weapon systems designed to penetrate standard defensive orbital structures. Long-range missile launchers and heavy cruisers can make short work of most turrets, and along with the increased availability of exotics and the capital ships they grant access to, important colonies will eventually require a heavier defensive element to protect them. The Starbase is a relatively expensive but heavily armed, highly customizable armoured bulwark designed to protect vital choke points and your best, well-developed colonies. They are tough and armed with a variety of weapons designed to deter all but the most dedicated strike forces, but their utility is greatly increased by upgrading them with a series of Starbase items unlocked through research, won in auctions, or traded for influence with the minor factions. Starbase items can add strikecraft hangars, increase the potency of weapons systems, shielding or armour, increase the effectiveness of local friendly fleets, build ships or boost economic output, along with many more abilities and effects. Most factions can build only 1 at each location, although the defence-oriented TEC Enclave can unlock the ability to field 2 Argonev Starbases in any gravity well. Enclave systems are an incredibly tough nut to crack as a result. Cheaper, less well-equipped starbases can work as a powerful stopgap or rallying point for your own fleets acting in defense around a gravity well, while a well-upgraded starbase alone can be a formidable adversary requiring planning and dedicated hardware to bring down. Each faction has access to a dedicated starbase destroying cruiser, but care must be taken to bring enough along and ensure they're well protected while they go about their job. A good defensive player will usually have a defensive fleet or two to bring as backup. The starbase pairs particularly well with the phase jump inhibitor, a deadly trap that prevents any enemy fleet from leaving the gravity well it is located in. Enemy fleets or ships that do not look before they leap will become trapped in a hostile gravity well, and must destroy the phase jump inhibitor before they are able to leave. They'll often be guarded by a powerful starbase configuration, supported by other military orbital structures and defending fleets. If the intruding force is not equipped to defeat these defences and take out the phase jump inhibitor, it is doomed to destruction. Once this dangerous technology enters the war, players must be very wary to properly scout enemy gravity wells before committing forces to them, or risk losing very large numbers of powerful ships to such traps. The very threat of the phase jump inhibitor provides your empire an extra layer of security that cannot be ignored. The TEC Enclave has an extra defensive layer available for research, garrison recruitment. This technology line activates any idle shipbuilding facilities to build a local fleet of combat vessels dedicated to defending their sponsoring colony, with the option to assault or defend neighbouring gravity wells one jump distant. These ships do not count towards your usual fleet supply limit, and further cements the position of the TEC Enclave as the masters of defensive play in Sins of a Solar Empire 2. Through their enigmatic use of their powerful sci-tech powers, the Advent Unity can use recall to rapidly relocate their forces to defend their core worlds. There is a charge up timer on this ability, which can be reduced by upgrading the recall ability with more Unity points. But once it activates, all fleets around the selected gravity well will be instantaneously teleported to their homeworld, with some of their damage repaired too. This is particularly useful for the near instantaneous emergency defensive redeployment of a fleet over a potentially huge distance to counter incoming threats located close to their homeworld. In similar fashion, the Visari make great use of their esoteric phase gate structures to link distant worlds to one another, allowing them to ignore the usual phase lane structure of the sector and instead phase jump directly between any two phase gates. Once a phase gate network is established, the Visari have unparalleled and surprising mobility, allowing their fleets to reappear seemingly out of nowhere to defend their territory. Building a phase gate at critical choke points and in locations containing valuable resource extraction structures is highly advised. There are many exciting planetary items available in the game to fortify your empire's defences and help keep your colonies safe from enemy invasion. Here is just a small selection. The TEC's munitions plant keeps local defensive structures well supplied with armaments, granting a large bonus to weapons damage for all turrets and starbases. Meanwhile, the Advent Wrath wield their powerful psionics to overpower encroaching enemy forces with the Temple of Assimilation. When enemy ships enter the gravity well, they have a small chance to be converted into serving your empire. By currying favour with Pranist United, they'll be persuaded to build the awe-inspiring Unassailable Fortress, an incredible feat of planetary defensive engineering that dramatically increases the colony's resistance to invasion while simultaneously accommodating orbital infrastructure for many extra military orbital structures. It's important to note that in general, static defences are there to support your fleets in their defensive capabilities, not replace them completely. Although a heavily upgraded starbase supported by a full complement of military orbital structures can be very difficult to overcome, a dedicated invasion fleet commanded by a wily fleet admiral will be up to the task and may eventually overcome them. Supported by a large and powerful fleet or two, however, heavily defended systems like these can become incredibly difficult to overcome. Strategic considerations must be made to ensure those defending fleets are not present in such a system when the invasion begins. How you do that though is up to you. Good luck.